Good morning, good morning, good morning, kings and queens, gentlemen and ladies. This is Refined Rose back with another video. Be careful of abusers when they're testing our boundaries. And what I mean by that, when I got with my sixth husband, I had my own separate property in Arlington, Texas, in which I sold, and we later bought a new property together using my VA loan with only my name on the VA loan. So I had assets inside of that property that he thought was worth a lot of money, and he wanted to sell them, and I did not. They had sentimental value. I had a dog kennel inside the house and a dog collar with identifying tags and leashes and toys that I didn't want to get rid of because it belonged to my dog named Deacon, who passed away after 14 years. So I eventually broke down the dog cage and put everything nice and neat inside the garage. So his son was homeless with 4 dogs and would stay wherever he could lay his head. And he finally was able to get in Motel 6 and pay by the day. But he needed a kennel. So my sixth husband asked me, hey, let me take that kennel because my son need a dog cage to put at least 2 of his dogs in. So I told him, I said, no, you know that's Deacon's kennel, and it has sentimental value, so I don't want to give it away. I want to keep it. So we ended up selling that property and moving into our new place out in Terrell, Texas. So once we moved and got everything unpacked, Deacon, his kennel, his collar with the identifying name tags with his name on there, and his leashes and toys was no longer there. You know why? Because my sixth husband took everything and gave it to his son. I was so hurt. Ooh, I was so hurt. So hurt that I cried, and was so mad that I was crying too, because I couldn't believe he would do something so hurtful like that. And I explained to him how sentimental Deacon's items are to me. And another way that they test our boundaries is to schedule something on top of what we already have scheduled and want us to change our plans. And what I mean by that, I had a manicure and pedicure scheduled one day, and I had some other things scheduled that day that I really needed to get done but couldn't because I had been smothered by him so much. He was on me like white on rice and wanted to know my every move and sometimes be there when he could. So I didn't have a breather. So I finally had a chance to schedule a manicure and pedicure, and I just knew I was going to have some breathing room. Well, guess what? He scheduled a staycation on top of my plans, and I knew I had to cancel those because I knew I would receive a verbal assault. So I contacted him and I said, hey, you know I had these plans scheduled for today. And he got rude with me, nasty with me, and I knew a verbal assault was coming later. So I told him, it's fine, I'll just cancel it and I'll reschedule it. So he was testing my boundaries, and this is what abusers do to push our boundaries, to gain total control and dominance over us if we don't stop it in the beginning. I didn't stop it in the beginning. I just cried about Deacon's kennel being given to his son, and I just canceled my manicure and pedicure and my other plans for that day to avoid verbal assaults. But that don't help us because they would keep testing our boundaries and keep pushing our boundaries until we lose self in that relationship. And then after we lose self, it could affect our mental health. So all I'm saying is, y'all, be aware of the tactics that abusers use. They test us by pushing our boundaries, and before long, we won't have any boundaries. We won't have a voice There will be no say-so, and then they will have total control and dominance over us. That's all I have for now. Refined Rose out. Bye for now.